Should encryption technologies in use have limits placed on them by the U.S. government in instances involving threats to national security so that access is enabled through a backdoor? What is encryption? Encryption is the process of encoding messages or information in such a way that only authorized parties can access it. What is a backdoor? A backdoor in computing is a method of bypassing the normal method of authentication. Backdoors are usually inserted into a program or algorithm before it is distributed widely. They are often hidden in part of the design of the program or algorithm. In cryptography specifically, a backdoor would allow an intruder to access the encrypted information without having the correct credentials. The backdoor would either A. allow the intruder to guess the access key based on the context of the message, or B. allow the intruder to present a skeleton key that will always grant him access.
When researching on the topic of encryption technology versus the U.S. government, one can learn that encryption technology does more good than harm the government believes it causes. Should encryption technology in the U.S. have limits placed on them by the U.S. government in instances involving threats to national security so that access is enabled through a backdoor? The answer is no, because of various reasons such as national security concerns, privacy concerns, and law enforcement abuse. Encryption is the process of encoding messages or information in such a way that only authorized parties can access it. The primary purpose of encryption is to protect the confidentiality of digital data stored on computer systems or transmitted via the internet or other computer networks. Modern encryption algorithms play a vital role in the security assurance of IT systems and communications, as they can provide not only confidentiality, but also the following key elements of security, such as authentication, which means the origin of the message can be verified, integrity, proof that the contents of the message have not been changed since it was sent, and non-repudiation, which means the sender of the message cannot deny sending the message. The government wants to place limits and create a backdoor so that they have access to all this information. The first argument we're bringing to you today is privacy. The first argument we are bringing up is privacy. As American citizens, we have the right to privacy, and the government is obligated to uphold our civil liberty. We have a right to communicate privately with others without having the government or law enforcement looking through our texts, emails, and listening on our phone calls. Opening a back door will infringe on our Fourth Amendment rights and make it easier for not only the government but anyone to hack into our computers and phones. We entrust companies such as Facebook and Google to keep our personal information such as our searches, our emails, our phone logs, safe. In the film United States of Secrets Part 2, we learned how the NSA went overseas to breach Google's fiber optic network and install a splitter so that they can collect all the metadata flowing through without even Google or the general population, us, being aware. Similar things happened with AT&T, how they were forced to build a separate and secret room for the NSA so that they can collect all the cellular data of its users. Yes, with all that metadata, they can stop or investigate possible threats to the United States.
It says on the door, and what's mysterious about it is there's no door handle. So it looks kind of odd.
Klein began to investigate.
I traced the cabling coming out of the room. I could not find direct cabling going from the secret room to the phone switch. The cabling all seemed to go upstairs.
Upstairs on the 7th floor was where AT&T handled internet traffic.
What Mark Klein found was an infrastructure that suggested that the government was copying all traffic going through the AT&T internet backbone.
Klein got hold of engineering drawings that showed the cables he had traced were going to a device called a splitter.
The splitter is basically a glass prism. So you put a cable in there, the light beam goes in there, and it's split like that. One half is going to the secret room, and the other half was going to its normal assigned destination, but it's been copied in the process.
And this was important because if one can split the light or divert the light out of one of those networks, one can copy everyone's traffic on the network. It's kind of unfathomable amount of information.
The internet chops everything up into little data packets. So it is your email, your web browsing, photos you might be sending. This is a huge dragnet operation.
But the reason we are bringing up these examples is because if there were limits on encryption technology and backdoors were allowed, people presenting those threats can also find their way into these backdoors, and then they have all that metadata which they can use to do real harm to the innocent Americans who were unaware that all of their data was collected in the first place. The next argument is law enforcement abuse. Putting these powerful tools of a backdoor into the hands of law enforcement agencies that have a history of biased policing will compound existing disparities. In other words, many people believe law enforcement won't stop at solely using their backdoor to combat current crimes, but continually eavesdrop on the conversations of everyone to prevent future crimes. We learned that this was already happening in Santa Cruz, California, by listening to the TED Talk by Donnie Fowler and Zach Friend. They discuss how law enforcement is using the metadata collected from everyone to pinpoint where possible crimes might take place and prevent them. Even though their system worked and it did drop crime 19% in Santa Cruz, it is still infringing on everyone's Fourth Amendment rights to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures. Their system was proven not to be completely secure anyway because while they were trying to demonstrate their system during their TED Talk, it was hacked in a matter of seconds. There's even a video showing that, and we'll show that to you right now.
As easy as logging into email, and if any of you, since these are all techies out there, hack this, I will find you. Ah, somebody hacked it.